Hey guys, what's up? PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here today. It's currently 9:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, about 6 minutes after US markets have opened. As you guys can see, we have rejected off of the 70.2% fib about 2-3 days ago, printing a bearish shooting star on the daily time frame. As you guys can see, you see this candle right here. This was your bearish shooting star. And then 2 days ago, we closed below the lows of that candle. And then the day after that, which was yesterday, we come back down to these range lows, sitting at around 94,119. Now, the general consensus would be that we see a flush down to the lower retracements before we continue onward with the trend to the upside, with the possibility of even wicking down to this structural support located at 87,000 to 85,000. So the supports below that we would be taking a look at is 91,447 and 87,879 to 85,000. So it's likely that if we break down below 92,500, then we're gonna come down to these retracements here, like that, and then see the pop up for the next leg from there. But something I noticed yesterday, about 1 hour before daily close, is that even though we see bearish divergence on the 4-hour, even though we have a bearish shooting star off the 70.2% fib, I couldn't help but notice the hidden bullish divergence forming right over here. You know, I've seen many times that even though Bitcoin may look like it's forming a local top, what it actually does is just come down very slightly. You fool retail traders into thinking we're going to set another push down, or we're going to see another push down, but what it actually does is it just continues on up like this, because this is what I've noticed. I noticed that even though we have higher lows here on the daily time frame, on the RSI, on the daily, we have a lower low. So this is forming hidden bullish divergence. So there is a possibility that instead of having the full-on breakdown towards those lower retracements that I was showing you guys, instead we would just continue up towards the 78.6% fib, sitting at around 100,660, and then we would likely come up to around the 886, which is where Bitcoin usually goes up towards during a retracement. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 886. Okay, the 886 is at 104,508. So going forward, what I would want to be seeing on Bitcoin, in order to validate a move back up to 100,660, is just simply for this diagonal support to hold. You see this diagonal support right here? Right? If Bitcoin can hold that diagonal support, then we can confirm that daily hidden bullish divergence, and then we can see one more pop up to these two levels right here. Okay. However, if we lose this diagonal support, more specifically, if we lose 92,500, 92,700 region on a closing basis, then we're going to come down to these lower retracements right here, with the possibility of wicking into this structural support right over here at 88 to 85,000. Okay, before we can continue on with our trend to the upside. Now, don't get me wrong, even though we may look bearish in the short term, we are still within an uptrend. Take a look here at the 2-week time frame on Bitcoin. You guys can see that we are above our momentum indicator on the 2-week, and every time we got above it, we formed a bottom and then continued on upwards, right? So you see how well Bitcoin formed a base off of this 2-week momentum indicator. You see, we never had any 2-week closure below it. So let's see how this plays out. This 2-week time frame closes in about 6 days and 11 hours. It is forming a topping tail here, right? So we may see a push down before we continue on higher. So we'll see how this plays out. I'll keep you guys posted, but these are the retracements so far, okay? Remember, if we break below 92,500 on a closing basis, then we will come down to these retracements. Otherwise, if this diagonal support holds, then Bitcoin has the opportunity to push on higher, and this daily hidden bullish divergence will play out. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed the Bitcoin video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Peace out and take it easy. See you in the next one.